How would you persuade people to buy French wine as opposed to German wine in an off-license?
Sausages.
Not bad, not bad. Well, it could be sausages. What they did is a very famous study, it's a very easy study. Well, you could say you bring down the price. Well, you could bring down the price, yes. But what they did in this wonderful study is they put German wine and French wine piled up, both white wines, both dry white wines, and both the same price. But for a week, they played traditional German music, Umpa sort of music. And for the next week, they played sort of French accordion music. So you went in, and as they went out, you said, was there any music in the shop? And people said, don't think so. They weren't aware of the music, but the music influenced sales. When there was French music, they bought more French wine. When there was German music, there was more German wine. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make people make different decisions by presenting them with different sort of information. Now, when we make decisions, we often make, we do things intuitively, we make blunders, we make routine decisions, we always go for the same thing, and we make these automatic decisions. And what I think we can do, and what the point of this presentation is, and the point of the whole nudge story, is the brilliance of presenting information in such a way that you can persuade people to do one thing rather than another. Attitudes and behavior. Psychologists have known for 1932, the LaPierre study, that if you want to change behavior, that attitudes follow from behavior, not the other way around. If you want to change a person's behavior, you change the behavior, not their attitudes. You do not. Do you remember clunk, click? Do you remember the safety belt? Do you remember how they did it? They had all these ads. What you do is you change the law. You change the behavior, and the attitudes follow. Attitudes follow behavior, not the other way around. And we know that by trying to change people's attitudes, it will not have an effect on the behavior. But if you change the behavior subtly and importantly, you can change the attitudes if you want to. What Kahneman and Tversky did was come up with a huge number of these called heuristics. What they discovered, brilliantly, was that people made automatic decisions based on rules of thumb, quick rules of thumb. And they were often wrong. We can influence this. The story I like, these two worked together in the Israeli military, and the story I like best of all was early on. They're both statisticians, and they were both in the Israeli Air Force, and they were fascinated by training. So these Air Force people, the aeroplanes took off, and they took off and landed, took off and landed, took off and landed to teach these pilots how to land. And what these two they went up to the pilots' trainers and said, tell me, does reward work better than punishment, or punishment work better than reward? What did the trainers all say? They all agreed that punishment works, not reward. Why did they say that? Do you know the story?
I watched your video.
You watched my video. You watched my video. For those of you who didn't, it's a very interesting story. Because you've been told that reward works, haven't you? That carrots work better than sticks. Well, they do, but these people had made a bad decision. And here's the story. It's a very interesting little story of how we make errors. We know that when you train in it, when you do something very good, that there's a normal distribution. That means that sometimes you do something very, very well, sometimes you do something very, very badly. But whatever skill you're trying to learn, most of your efforts are somewhere in between. What happens when you do a very, very good landing? What is the next landing likely to be? Less good. If you do a very, very bad landing, what is the next landing likely to be? Not as bad. So whatever happens, if you have an extreme, the next one is less extreme. So if you reward them for doing very, very well, they don't do as well next time. But if you punish them for doing very, very badly, they do better next time. So punishment works. So they thought. They were wrong. What they didn't know, what they didn't understand, was this issue called regression to the mean. So they were inferring something that was inappropriate. Now these two brilliant psychologists, one died and the other got the Nobel Prize and has brought this book out, have been particularly interested in these issues. And they've influenced the whole of economics. The whole of economics has changed as a function of these two.